What is up, everybody? Welcome back to Warhammer Rogue Trader. My voice is still a little messed up, but I noticed something while I was getting ready to record. You could just click to travel like around. Lord Captain, there's some commotion on the officer's deck. The Lady Navigator has left her quarters and is currently in her wardrobe, where uninitiated crew members are shunning her in terror. Perhaps you should find out what has brought Cassia to the deck. Okay. I'll do it.
Lord Captain, my apologies. I did not notice your entrance.
See, you're fond of reading.
Oh, this. I found this fascinating read on one of the shelves, and I must say, it has caught my eye. Its every chapter is written in verse. I find it so beautiful and enrapturing. Owlcat 5 had a vast archive of its own, of course. Although most of the works within had to do with scholarly disciplines of some sort or another. Only in my sparse moments of respite was I allowed to escape into the pages of more embellished works.
The events that took place on Owlcat 5 must have shaken you greatly. Are you well?
One should not underestimate the navigators of House Orselio, Lord Captain. Like a shawl of pale smoke, a faint malaise hangs upon my shoulders, but it will not be the slightest hindrance to my duty to humanity, and my duty to you.
Your only attendant is your valet from Owlcat 5. Do my servants not measure up to your standards?
No, it is not that at all, Lord Captain. It is just that Uwe is quite capable of carrying out his duties by himself. He is well accustomed to my whims and preferences.
Perception test succeeded. Cassia cringes ever so slightly, adjusts the adornment on her forehead, then awkwardly hides her clawed fingers in the folds of her clothes. The unnatural appearance of navigators often becomes a topic of gossip among lowly servants and officers alike. It is unsurprising then that Cassia prefers the company of one who is used to how she looks. What if you had ample time to calm yourself in your powers?
There are people on this ship who are far more impulsive and dangerous to others, and far less devoted to the God Emperor than a herald of the Navis nobility. But I did not need your words to see the shades of umber unease that whirl around your subjects whenever I am near. Were I not acquainted with such a reaction, I could have found their behavior and your question just now insulting.
The only question the game gave me to ask.
Lord Captain, would you kindly explain to me why you are pestering me with these questions? Inquiring about my mood and my needs, showing an interest in the books I am enjoying. You are behaving as if you possessed a shred of fellow feeling for one such as I.
Oh, you're one of my members of my crew.
I beg your pardon, Lord Captain. That was no way for a navigator to conduct herself.
No. You have nothing to apologize before. Human emotions are natural, be they good or bad, but it is just as natural to share them with others.
Please forgive me. I cannot even understand myself right now. Your words and attention have reminded me of life on the station, of Theobald and Felek. I do not understand. They were merely the keepers of Owlcat 5. So why do memories of those two make me feel a strange heaviness here? At the same time, I find myself overwhelmed with new excitement and anticipation. At last, I have set foot outside my familiar walls and into a world that I have only seen before in the pages of books. Your ship alone is a treasure trove of remarkable artifacts and curiosities. And just imagine the things that await beyond, but my delight must seem childish to you, surely. In your heart, you must be finding all this quite amusing.
We go for it, boys. We go for it. And girls, we do it. I would not dare make fun of a lady's feelings, especially not one who has captivated me since I first set eyes on her. Oh god, bad timing.
Words like that, Lord Captain, could easily be misconstrued. You should familiarize yourself with some of the works in your library to learn the appropriate manner of conversing with a lady.
A spark. We just got the achievement of spark. You started a romance. Yeah, we did. Struggling to maintain an expression of polite indifference, Cassia covers her burning face and swiftly exits the room. That's the way to handle that situation. Uwe, Cassia. Alright, well. Goods! This the book she was reading, I assume? Secrets of Gallant Conduct, How to Express Your Feelings to a Noble Lady, and she left it on the table. An admirer who seeks to gain the favor of a fine lady is well advised to maintain pointed courtesy and finesse in every deed. An honorable admirer will never defile a noble lady's ears with crude or indecent words, and neither will he allow himself to conduct that could besmirch her honor and dignity. Above all, the admirer should remember that a relationship begins with the right choice of words. Shower your lady with compliments that will accentuate her finest qualities without putting her in a position of discomfort. A word chosen elegantly and spoken with genuine warmth may bring about a change in the lady's eyes as she looks upon you. Once your interaction has grown more intimate, always be sure to remember the simple rules of etiquette. For example, should the lady drop her handkerchief, the deepest expression of sympathy for her would be to perform the following gesture. Pick up the handkerchief, wait a brief moment, then bring the handkerchief to your lips and touch it lightly before returning it to the lady. This noble gesture will assure the lady of your seriousness of your intentions. Remember that the flower bud of true feelings takes time to blossom. Patience, loyalty, and impeccability in adhering to the decorums of the nobility is key to earning the lady's favorable disposition. I like how she left the book for us to read. She's like, oh, you should familiarize yourself with the works. By the way, here are the works. So can we just look around the room here? I mean, this is where we had that one fight. Remember the room and the tables, and we unlocked those doors? To the voidship bridge we go. I wonder if anyone on the bridge has anything new to talk about. I hope yes, but then again, like, my voice hopes no. Let's see. Got anything new, Adira? Nope. Good. We'll just give everybody a double check here. Here we go. Have you ever heard the name Fiery Reckoning? From what I can tell, it is a voidship of some sort. I'm afraid it's not immediately familiar to me, your lordship. Please allow me a moment. I say, House von Valancius did indeed sign a contract with the owners of a vessel with the designation Fiery Reckoning. There are transactions records of the ship picking up cargo from Kieva Gamma. Well, this is odd. The data log ends there. Apparently, the ship had some interactions with one of the workshops on your industrial ward. Beg your pardon, your lordship, but that is an extent of the assistance I can provide you in regards to this particular matter. I'd like to order shipping and transportation of some goods. So we only know these people, so maybe we should wait on that. I don't really want to replace her picture with mine. I mean, I guess I could, but why?
Lord Captain, as you wish. Of course. No, as
Lord Captain, as you wish. We got the Foxmaster and then these. Oh, she's here now. Cool. We will have more to talk about them. Have the Vox spirits brought you anything interesting lately? Forgive me, Lord Captain. I have no information that would be of interest to you at this moment. That'll be all then. I live to serve. Yes, you do. Master Helmsman, how do you feel about having back a Navigator? Do you know anything about a ship named the Fiery Reckoning? I've heard the name that much I'm sure of, but I can't recall the details. I wonder if it was part of that operation that the late Mort was put in charge of. If it was, there's nothing I can tell you, Lord Captain. The whole thing was kept under wraps. Your best chance would be to ask the High Factotum. Maybe some of his treasury records have mentioned the Fiery Reckoning. I must take my leave. Thank you. Argenta?
Greetings.
Thank you. Uwe, you want to talk? You can't, though. You don't have a tongue.
Words cannot describe how boring the bridge is without our stimulating conversations.
Tell me about yourself.
I am a part of House Orselio, an ancient dynasty of the Navis nobility. Since time immemorial, our family has served to advance knowledge, pushing at the boundaries of the dark unknown. The Starway Atlas contains 2,843 routes that chart the sectors of the Segmentum Obscurus and reach all the way from the Koronus Expanse to Holy Terra.
I feel like this would be rude, so we'll listen.
And uniting the Imperium's thousands of worlds. House Orcelio is bound by commercial pacts to houses Galeatis, Ortina, Drotus, and... There is a dark blue knot tightening on your neck, Lord Captain. I can see my reply is not satisfying your thirst for knowledge. What is it you desire to hear exactly?
Allow me to ask you a few personal questions.
You have my permission, Lord Captain.
So you've never lived anywhere other than Uric 5?
Hardly. According to the chronicles of the house, I was born on one of the Orcelio worlds. Oh, what was it? Please forgive me, Lord Captain. My childhood memories are too vague. Sometimes I dream about the colorful birds that built their nests in the garden, or the servants dressed in purple livery, or the blue fog that rolled over the lowlands behind the palace. But everything is covered in a rosy haze. Perhaps it is my imagination, not my memory, that is painting these pictures.
Tell me about your life on the station.
My stay on the station was wholly dedicated to preparing me for my future duty. Astromancy, astrography, numerology, the histories of my house and the Imperium, as well as other disciplines. For many years, dozens of instructors tirelessly prepared me for my destiny. And once a year, Great Regent Alronto would come to the station. He would entrust his beautiful vessel to my command, so that I could master the practical aspects of our art as well.
Did you not have friends, someone you could turn to for a simple conversation, not a discussion of yet another lecture?
The Regent gave me a bird from a sunlit planet once. I tried to befriend it and make it sing, but for some reason, it refused, and died soon after. The instructors were too respectful of my duty to my house to waste precious time on idle chatter. Aside from them, there were only servants on the station. And you know they have their vocal cords removed, so they cannot break their vow of silence. And since the subject has been breached, Lord Captain, why do you not follow this honored tradition? Your decks are so garish. Apologies, I meant noisy. The rabble don't just chatter. Sometimes they shout and even sing. Why do you allow such a lack of restraint? Rogue traders are highborn, are they not?
A ruler cannot maim people just because it is in his power to do so. On the contrary, it is the duty of every ruler to look after his subjects.
Your words sound amazingly blasphemous. If a ruler's duty dictates the need for violence, would dispensing it not be their responsibility? I will contemplate your answer in solitude.
Your third eye, do you always conceal it?
The Navigator's open eye is baneful to whoever the warp's ruinous shine falls upon, and therefore it is the symbol of our power. We are the guiding stars of humanity, found worthy of an uncommon gift, and one of the duties that we bear is to guard our eye, even from wayward glances that may bear evil. Besides, I am aware that lesser servants of the Imperium may find our appearance repulsive. The Navigator gene twists the features the rabble are used to seeing, and the magnificence of our role cannot be grasped by their feeble minds.
You're beautiful, Cassia. Do not let anyone or anything convince you otherwise.
Lord Captain, you are overstepping the bounds of propriety.
Disagree. What does it feel like to guide a vessel through the warp?
It may be difficult to describe. You see, every navigator perceives the warp differently. My mentor, Great Regent Alronto, always described his travels through the Imperium as a journey through a vast wood with countless paths. And I, assisting him in the first voyages, futilely tried to follow his example. but the wood would not reveal itself to me. But everything changed when I found my own key to this mystery. You see, I've always brightened up my rare moments of leisure time by painting. You may recall there was a workshop in my chambers. As soon as I imagined the warp as a blank canvas, an indescribable feeling came over me. I moved the brush, going deeper and deeper into my own painting. Visions were hidden within the vibrant colors of my palette, and something inside me knew which should be brought out and which should be left behind. I woke up several days later, after the voyage was safely complete.
I noticed that your love of painting is reflected in your speech as well. You associate so many images with hues and colors.
The Emperor graced me with a gift. I can see inner life in addition to the mundane. You cannot know that a fruit has rotten from the inside until a blade slices it in two. I can see the rot from far away. It roils like swamp mud, oozing through the bright peel. Anger and boredom, sadness and joy. Everything that people shut away inside themselves is revealed to me like colors on the canvas of my world.
Why don't we talk about something else?
You will hear no objection from me, Lord Captain.
Tell me about House Orsilio.
As the only voice of our family on this vessel, it is an honor. As long as your questions are courteous, I will answer every one of them.
I take it House Orsilio has a rich history.
Oh, yes. The navigators of the house came to the Koronus Expanse fairly recently, a mere 208 years ago. Before that, our ancestors expanded the borders of humankind's dominion for the glory of the Emperor, blazing trails to different corners of the galaxy.
Who rules the house?
Just as a rogue trader stands at the head of a protectorate, a Novator heads a navigator house. It is the Novator who decides where to look for alliances and which path their bloodline is destined to tread. As for our house, the transfer of power to a successor is currently underway. In the meantime, Great Regent Auronto Orselio is ensuring the stability of the house.
You lived in a seclusion on a closed station until Fellet committed his sabotage, so then you must be the Navigator's successor.
So says Regent Auronto. Nothing is decided yet. Some people in the house become enshrouded in rolling gray clouds at the thought of me becoming the Novator. But even more are bound with dull leaden chains. They think I am not ready for such a burden.
Your permission, I talk about something else.
By all means.
What does your special sight reveal?
Sister Argenta shines like a guiding star, inspiring resolve in those around her, seemingly inexplicably. However, I see a dark and ugly fog billow behind her, contrasting sharply with her shining light. It burdens the Sister of Battle. It drags her down. Yet Argenta herself is hardly aware of it. Seneschal Viserion is among the few whose colors are a pleasure to look at. Whenever the Seneschal speaks, heavenly crystal clarity spreads around him. And whenever he is angered, dark blue clouds condense over him. And in his rare moments of joy, a pure gleam of sunset pink caresses the souls of those near him. Out of your entire retinue, Lord Captain, he is the only one I would trust with my life. Idira's emotions are like a maelstrom, bright, unbridled, enveloping her form like a wondrous kaleidoscope of colors. And as dangerous as a twisting warp storm. The riot of colors hides the truth from my eyes. What exactly is driving this woman? Is it her own will, or is it the Imperium, Lord Captain?
Let's talk about us, shall we?
Right here? Are you sure?
No, let's discuss other things.
Of course. Let us turn from personal matters to more pressing concerns.
This is where I must beg my leave.
I have enjoyed your company. Thank you for the conversation.
Goodbye. Alright, we have talked to everybody. Back to the Expanse map. So I just want to go check out Thunderfang again. It's like, Lord Captain, sorry to disturb you. It's a pandemonium outside the bridge gate. One of the officers seems to be demanding a place with you in person. I think the master was Arian's voice. In any case, I wanted to warn you. Okay. What happened now? I'm intrigued. I'm so intrigued, I want to continue. There we go. What's up, guy? Oh, that's cool. The everyday sounds of the bridge are disruptive voices raised in anger. Ablard's voice the loudest of all. This is not the conduct of an officer. These are the antics of a highborn brat out on a lark. Explain yourself, Lieutenant. The young woman standing before Abelard strives with all her might not to quail under the onslaught of her superior's anger, but she falters, but then manages to look him in the eye and say, I apologize, sir, but I must speak with the Lord Captain. Very well, Lieutenant. You may address the Lord Captain, not least because you have already seen fit to disturb him. Your unauthorized appearance on the bridge and your display of belligerence towards a higher ranking officer will be logged on your personal file without delay. Lord Captain, Lieutenant Avrila Vent, requesting permission to speak. Vent falls silent and then adds rashly, on a matter of extreme importance and urgency. I'm not telling any kind of sign of it. I'll listen to what you have to say. Speak, Lieutenant. This matter cannot wait. Any minute now, an assault unit will be dispatched to the lower decks on orders to crush the worker strike by any means necessary, but I am convinced that this step is unwarranted and that the crisis itself was provoked by the actions of one of the senior officers. Vint is almost trembling with tensions as she delivers her speech, her face extremely pale. Abelard is in no hurry to intervene. Abelard, in no hurry to intervene, lets out a skeptical huff. Lord Captain, I urge you to investigate the actions of the Seneschal Wasserian and intervene in what's happening on the lower decks, because very soon we'll have a mutiny or a massacre on our hands. Vint reels off the last words as though she knows them by heart. She's clearly been preparing to say them for some time. When she has finished, she casts an anxious glance at Abelard, then you. There's an insurrection in the making aboard my ship and no one has informed me. Would not deem it a problem worthy of a rogue trader's attention. The lower decks, as it happens, are in revolt. 30-some years ago, we even had a revolutionary leader rise up who dared to establish workers' rule across the entire ship. It took a month to restore order, but even in 8 years, we were still battling rumors that the hero had survived his execution and was on the verge of gathering people to fight against tyranny once more. Needless to say, the rumors were baseless. As for the current situation, we have sufficient enforcers to deal with it. But on the ship, the word of the Lord Captain carries more weight than a salvo from 100 bolters. I'm sure that if the rogue trader addresses the malcontents directly, he will quell the unrest. I dread to think what problem you will disturb the rogue trader with next. Perhaps you ask the Lord Captain to break up brawls in the mess room. I've already given you the means to resolve this problem. You simply need to use them. If I may, your lordship, sending a hit squad to crush the rebellion is a means of ignoring the problem, not solving it. How did this start? The situation could boil over at any moment, so I'll give you the condensed version. It all began when the enforcers found a cultist amulet on the body of someone who'd been killed in a drunken brawl. We reported it up the chain immediately, arranged for a cleansing rite to be performed, and opened an investigation. No heretics have been found alive, but the search has brought tensions between enforcers and workers to a head. Where does Seneschal Wasserian come into all of this? I shall explain. I beg you to hurry, time is running out. I will not hurry. Since my competence is under scrutiny, I shall speak for as long as I see fit. There is an established order to the way things are done on this ship, and one of the pillars of the system is the rogue trader's attention is not distracted by trivial matters. It is the Seneschal's role to ensure that I have always handled internal problems myself, so of course, when I received information about cultists sighting on the lower decks, I took matters into hand. So long as I live, not one of the vermin who murdered Theodora von Valancius will find refuge on her ship. You were too far heavy-handed, Seneschal Wasserian. Arrests, interrogation, mass punishments for entire sectors has driven the people to the brink. Vince says bitterly. Now there's a strike on the lower decks, in Depot 4 to be precise. 3 worker clans are involved, but many more are passively supporting them. The situations could degenerate into an all-out insurrection. But when I reported my concerns, the only response I received was an order to dispatch an assault unit and crush the strike with maximum force. Abelard, what do you have to say to all this? I see no need to add anything. I acted with the remit of my authority, guided exclusively by best interests of your protectorate and your personal safety. If you wish to confirm the rectitude of my actions for yourself, I have no objections. For my part, Lord Captain, I urge you to go down to the lower decks, stop the assault unit, and speak directly to the people. You'll see that they're not lying or harboring heretics. That way you will stop the uprising before it begins. What is Depot 4? Depot 4 is one of the poorest sectors on the lowest decks. It is home to the clans of general laborers. They are not as valued to the ship as the families who have served in specialized systems for generations. They're easily replaceable resource, and one which is now more besides giving succor to cultists and the minions of the archenemy. Depot 4 is poor and troubled, but at worst that means drunken fights and illegal rot-gut brewing. We have handled the workers in Depot 4 in the past. We would have done so again if the crackdown on Depot 4 hadn't been so harsh. And another important point to bear in mind. The problem is not limited to this sector. It is located on one of the most populated lower decks, and everything that happens there has a knock-on effect of all the neighboring sectors. I'm certain the Seneschal was acting within his authority, but I will verify the soundness of his decisions for myself. Throne preserve you, Lord Captain. I thank you for your support. Grits his teeth slightly. Enterprise bordering on the sophomoric, but please yourself, Lord Captain. However, I categorically insist that I escort you. Absolutely, Abelard. Do we get to take all of them? We do. Oh, we can have 6. Cool. Looks like we're going to be getting into a fight if we can take everyone.
Is there money to be made?
Should have saved. Really? Abelard reflexively wipes the spread from his bound in a startling human gesture and telling one, a rare moment where he's allowed his age and wariness to show through his armor-like veneer of self-assurance. The lower decks are a source of endless problems. Sometimes I dearly regret that we cannot replace all the locals with servitors. Did you hear? They were shouting your name. Of course they were. The organization of the daily routine life of the ship rests upon my shoulders, the mountain of challenges and problems from which I have the endeavor to insulate you, Lord Captain. The situation of the lower decks has been a cause for concern, and I have intervened personally on more than one occasion. That must be why they remember me. They do not know your face. To them you are akin to a creature of legend who has stood atop the steps of the Golden Throne, no less, whereas I am a man whose name is attached to every order docking rations or lowering a base heating. The people dared to disrespect a senior officer. They would have not had the chance to express such disrespect if we were not here, and if the situation had been dealt with by the relevant officers, it was a junior officer's worst failing to pass problems with the chain of command. I have never been able to abide it. I shall say it again. It was a mistake to come here, Lieutenant Vince Wynn, Lord Captain. I must admit that the lieutenant is by no means the worst material for an officer, but in the name of Tara, that girl is the same age as my eldest great-granddaughter, and she has the gall to tell me how to manage the lower decks and hunt down cultists. It'll be another 20 years at least before she is entrusted to act again without oversight. Let's keep moving. And let's save.
I always keep my options open.
Something resembling a nest made out of thermal insulation material. This must be where the workers sleep between shifts. Let's be. Let's zoom out a little bit. We're way too zoomed in there. We got some vents to play with. No? We can't play with the valves?
We are the spearhead of the Imperium.
Keep your wits about you.
We apparently cannot play with the valves. Huge pipes, the arteries of the ship run through many bays, delivering air, water, heat, and propulsive force of steam.
I always have a backup plan.
Avrilla? The sounds of the heated discussion reverberate through the ship's bays. Lieutenant Avrilla Vent of the ship's enforcers is barring the path of a heavily built assault unit officer, and judging by their expressions and tone, the standoff has dragged on for some time already and has now reached boiling point. I have my orders to put an end to the unrest and purge this sector. You take your orders and shove them. This is my deck and my sector. There are only 3 people who can waltz in here without my express permission. The first officer, the rogue trader, and the Emperor himself. So not all my lessons have fell on deaf ears. Abelard mutters in crabby approval. He does not clarify whether he means Lieutenant Vint or the officer looming over her, or both. Your lordship. Noticing you, the 2 junior officers snap to attention and salute their subordinates, following suit a moment later. What's the situation? Your lordship, my people have locked down the bay where the strikers are, including their leaders. We have the situation under control as far as resources allow. We have encountered some locals on our way here. Their conduct was outrageous. They even tried to throw things at us. Vint pales slightly. The people are getting desperate, clearly. They saw the assault unit and they decided they have nothing left to lose. I mean, I apologize, your Lord Captain. It's outrageous. I'm sure the people simply didn't recognize you. It wouldn't have occurred otherwise. We will deal with them once this occurred situation is resolved. I want to speak to the strikers. Abelard's mouth twists, but he restrains himself and says nothing. Right you are, Lord Captain. Allow me to wish you luck. Thank you. Thanks for the luck.
Not dawdle.
They're in there? Alright, well. I'll check that out momentarily. I got other things to look at. So many vents.
Is there money to be made?
The Whispers told me a secret.
What secret? This? Container can be seen beyond the massive bars. Perhaps examining the pipe will allow you to reach it.
Rise to the top, or get left in the dust.
I can't examine the pipe. Maybe a frenzy. It's interesting. I don't know how to examine these valves and stuff. We need to figure that out at some point.
Always keep your eye on the prize.
Another room with more valves that I can't play with. Machine right set. I think you should be going probably in here. Inside the box of the is a string scratch letters runs along the edge in different first names with the same surname. It looks like the box has been passed down in the family from generation to generation. Oh, nice little tool set. All right, guys. Well, that's gonna have to do it for this episode. A lot of these episodes are gonna be very heavy story wise. So
Always have a backup
if you don't
plan.
like that, I'm sorry, but that's probably just the way it's gonna be. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.